Monse you know what Monse just did? She did what Nico Harrison would love for her to do. No notes.
No notes.
No notes whatsoever. For some reason, the Dallas Mavericks are running their postseason press conferences like a TGI Fridays. I'm not writing down your order at all, and whatever comes out, comes out. Whatever you say it is, whatever you say it is. The point being is when you go to a restaurant and they don't write down your order, you are playing with fire.
Uh-huh.
You are 100% playing with fire because you don't know what they're going to get right and what they're going to get wrong. The Dallas Mavericks are playing with fire because for some reason when they call a postseason press conference, they only pick select members of the media to show up in front of Nico Harrison and CEO Rich Waltz. And they also say no cameras, no tape recorders, no recording. What you can write down is what you get. And I want to bring in Isaac Lowenkron because you do have some of the details. Am I understanding that the message of this, the whiskey glazed chicken breast, if you will, from TGI Fridays, is the defense wins championship phrase from Nico Harrison?
Absolutely. That was repeated multiple times during the course of whatever this was, according to the transcript. And yes, Front Office Sports had the details of how it all went down. They said initially the team did not want to allow any audio or video recordings, but after reporters objected, the Mavs allowed them to record audio of the meeting as long as they didn't publish it. And they also asked reporters, and they only invited 15, they also asked them not to post details about the news conference in real time on social media.
Go ahead, Monse, because I want to bring up something that Isaac said after you're done.
It would have just been easier for you to just put out your own statement in this
and not waste everyone's time?
Yes, absolutely. It seems like absolutely pointless. You invited a small select few people, and then you said you couldn't use any of the footage, so you might as well just written your own statement out and published it. It would have had the same effect. Nobody wants to hear you.
I once said that Le'Veon Bell led the NFL in bad decisions, and I think Nico Harrison is a league leader in the NBA. He is the Michael Jordan of bad decisions of the 2024-2025 NBA season. He's the GOAT. Nico Harrison is the GOAT of bad decisions and bad PR. They had the one press conference where Jason Kidd sat awkwardly next to him. And I'm not saying that Kidd is innocent in all of this because I do think he played a role. Heck, it sure seems like Luka thinks he played a role considering what Luka was yelling on the court. But the funny thing about the point that Isaac made of the 15 reporters, if you are included, is that a knock on your reporting? Like, in essence, like, they think that you're going to play ball with them? Or do you take that as they feel that I'm a fair and balanced reporter? Or do they look at it like, he's one of us? Yes,
You're
exactly.
soft.
Like, I almost think it would be a badge of honor to be
Not included.
because guess what? I'm doing the real work. I'm doing the real work of the people that you betrayed, Nico Harrison. I don't want to be in your stupid makeshift have fun meeting. I don't want to be a part of that at all.
Absolutely. It is calling you soft because if you were selected, that means they think or they have some sort of trust in you that you're going to take their side, that you're going to follow their rules like you just said.
That you understand.
Yeah.
You see, you know where we're coming from with all of this.
Yeah. You may not write something mean about us. You may write something soft, meaning you're soft. I wonder if anyone turned down the invite.
I don't know. I did see a few reporters say I was not invited.
Wear it as a badge of honor. You're fine.
Which I've done to friends' weddings. It's always such a trump card when you're in a group of friends and you're the one or two that didn't go, weren't invited to the wedding. It is such I wasn't invited to the wedding. It's such a stick of the knife because the rankings are right there. But in this case, it's not as much rankings. It's just of, do you play ball or do you not play ball? And the funny thing is they still have a season going.
Yeah.
By the way, they still have a play-in game to play, and possibly two if they end up beating the Kings tomorrow night. But what doesn't change is this, Monse. And I think that Luka got his reception that he deserved in going back. And in fact, I think it's going to be more of the same every time the Lakers go back to Dallas. May not be like the first time, but there are going to be loud cheers for Luka, and people are going to be cheering for Luka because there are Mavericks fans who will never be Mavericks fans again after this. You still have a season to play, still have a game to play. The one defense that I had in that game against the Lakers were the team that Nico did want on the court involved Kyrie Irving. And for Luka to have his moment, great, but it wasn't apples to oranges or apples to apples. It was apples to oranges because there was no Kyrie Irving. The problem is now as you move forward is we don't know what Kyrie Irving we're going to get coming off of an ACL injury. He is advanced in his career, so it's not like a 24-year-old getting it and maybe coming back even better than ever. As maybe ACL injuries, as severe as they aren't the end of a career, the death knell that you would have in previous years. So I absolved Nico of any of that, of them losing that game. But the point of his defense wins championships continues to miss the point about the trade. And the trade number one, as Dallas Mavericks general manager, you think the goal is to win a championship. You think that that's what your goal is as a GM. And I think that there's more responsibility on the first part of the Dallas Mavericks, meaning the name Dallas, than it is Mavericks. And that's who he abandoned. That's who he let down. And yeah, you have this team and you're trying to win championships, but ultimately you are a steward of that community, of that fan base. And if you had any sense whatsoever, you would have realized what Luka meant to that organization. I know the trade's over and it's 2 months old. I still don't think that the points that we argued 2-3 months ago are any different than they are right now. So him saying defense wins championships, it's not about championships, and it's about Dallas. It's not about the Mavericks, and that's the point that I think he keeps on missing when he's talking about this deal.
Here's the thing, Dan. There's nothing he can say to make anything better. I agree with you. He is missing the point, but I think, like, even if he got it, even if he said that, he can't change people's minds. Like, if he came out and said, man, you guys are right, I didn't realize the effect this was going to have on Dallas, it would just cause a second uproar. There's nothing he can say, nothing he can do, and it is, I'm going to say, unfair, because you're right. The team that he thought he was going to have is not the team he has, and we will never know what a healthy Kyrie and AD and a healthy Dallas Mavericks team would have done in this season, because they could have done well.
Sure.
They absolutely could have done well. But what he did 2 months ago, it's just, it doesn't matter what comes out of his mouth. There's nothing he can say to make anyone feel even an ounce better about this trade.
You don't think that if he came out and said, publicly and speaking, and said, listen, I did what I thought was best for the organization and still believe the move that I made was for the best interests of this organization, but I understand your pain in dealing with this, and at the time, maybe I didn't understand, but I still feel like I think there's got to be some recognition to a fan base who just lost their hero, and their hero is now in a better situation than he was prior. I mean, Nico saying, and Isaac, I want to bring you in because I don't know if it's internet folly or if it's fake or truth, but did he say in that meeting that there wasn't a guarantee if Luka would have signed the Supermax extension?
I remember him saying that, but you know what's really interesting? If they had allowed that audio to be out, I could just play it for you right now.
Yes.
I will search through the transcript and get back to you.
And the reason, because I thought I saw it on social media.
Mm-hmm.
I thought I did too, yes.
And so that's the point of, and everybody says, like, okay, come on. It's still like he's fighting this battle against Luka. You're probably right. There's nothing that he can say. I think that's absolutely it. But it's also of when you're, I've said this time before, when you're in a marriage, you learn how to apologize very quickly. And an apology isn't, I'm sorry you felt that way. There's got to be some responsibility towards it. So for him to take some responsibility on the hearts that he broke, I think is only fair. It may not be the end-all be-all, and there are going to be Mavericks fans that he lost for life because of it. But my goodness, just to even take a step towards that way and doing it in a private press conference and not speaking that way or not speaking in a way that was public and only taking 3 questions after the trade was done the first time around It's just an awful way to treat your fans after you've made that awful move.
Listen, I don't disagree with you that he should say that. I just don't think it does anything.
Sure.
If you admit that you let go of something that was so big to the Dallas community, if you admit that, then they're going to dig their heels even more of how terrible of a GM he is. You didn't realize that? You did not know that Luka Doncic loved Dallas the way that we saw it from the beginning for the last 6 years. There's stories about how I read he went to Dick's Sporting Goods like while he was in Dallas and was there working with like the Dallas community, like when he went to Dallas for the first time when the Lakers played, he went to Dick's Sporting Goods and did a whole thing there for the community. I also read that some kid in Dallas, his dad started a GoFundMe to get him money to get the kids sporting supplies for whatever sport he's in. Luka donated because he was from Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
Like he is still so invested in Dallas till this moment. And so I feel like whatever Nico says, it does not matter. Even though I agree with you, even though if it doesn't matter, you should still say it. You should still acknowledge it. You should tell the fans how you messed up.
Isaac Lowenkron has got some more information.
Yeah, to answer what you said earlier, Dan, more specifically, veteran NBA reporter Tim McMahon was one of those covering this. He got one of the precious invitations. So this is a transcript according to Tim McMahon. Tim McMahon says to Nico, Luka was going to sign this Supermax. Why didn't you sign him? And then if you really wanted to trade him, and then Nico jumps in, well, there's no guarantee he would sign a Supermax. McMahon responded, he has guaranteed it. He was balling on the bench. Nico Harrison responded, well, like I said, we can agree to disagree.
He really? Like, come on, man. Come on.
This is there's no give. There's nothing towards, and it would go a long way. And it's starting to become the point of, I don't know how he's ever going to survive in that certain role, and because everybody feels burned by it. But it's almost like now he's digging in his heels just to be that guy. And I feel that there is some healing that can be done. Look, for as great as Luka was that night in Dallas, and at times has been with the Lakers, there have also been some problems that popped up in Dallas that have popped up in games against LA. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And we're going to see in the playoffs as well on the defensive side of things and how things play out. And maybe the Lakers will get a rude awakening. We don't know. They got the Timberwolves in the first round. Should be a magnificent series with that showdown. But yeah, just to give a little something, just a little bit. I mean, it seems like it's a contentious divorce, like of just all of a sudden you were served papers and you're never talked to again. That's how Nico is handling it. And he's not even the spoiled one in all of this. It's crazy.
He's digging his heels, and I feel like that's the only option he has. I don't think he made this decision by himself. I don't think so. I think he's just the face of it, right?
Sure.
And unfortunately, that sucks for him that you are being associated as a person who made this sole decision, and I do think others were involved. But acknowledgement is what I think you're asking for, and I agree with you. Yesterday at work, they're not listening. One of my coworkers made a mistake at work yesterday, and it really screwed us over. And when I'm
sorry, Monsi.
No,
they're not listening as well because they're working, not because they don't want to listen to the show.
No, they're working. They are working.
Yes,
we have a game today.
Yes.
Like, absolutely. I was there. And literally, like, somebody made a mistake, one person that really screwed us over, and I went and approached the person, and no acknowledgement. It's like, I don't need an apology, but don't just brush it aside like it wasn't a big deal because you screwed us over. And again, I don't need the apology, but acknowledgement that you messed up and that for some reason today you had a brain fart and you messed up, but no acknowledgement about it. And I was so upset. I was so upset because literally screwed us over. And you should have seen me. Should have seen me, you guys. I had steam coming out of my ears.
Yeah, you just want a little give back.
A little give back, because who solved the day? I did.
Monse Bolanos.
I did.
She's the Luka Doncic of this show. Jason Stewart's our executive producer.
Oh, man, I had something to say, and then I just heard what Monty said. I think all of us could relate, all of us listening, to working with that person that just can't be accountable.
Yep.
A lot of us work really close to that person.
Oh, boy.
But anyways, I think I hadn't even thought about this
such
angle.
Such a Jason Stewart. Yeah, go ahead.
until I heard you guys summarize this. This is kind of a new theory of mine. I'm going to bounce it off y'all. Now, I don't know anything. You know me. I don't get into the weeds. I don't know Nico Harrison, whatever. But doesn't it sound like a man who's been empowered by ownership?
A little bit, yes.
My theory. Ownership says we don't want to commit to him for reasons A, B, and C. However, whatever reasons you believe. Didn't want to get in shape. Didn't like that he drinks a lot of beer, whatever. And you're going to get rid of him, and you're going to take all the bullets. As part of your compensation now, you're going to take all the bullets, all the BS from everybody. Now, he's talking like a guy who's empowered, who could say whatever he wants and be guarded. What do you think about my read on that?
I think that that's a fair read. The only issue that I have with the read is the directive, I don't think from upstairs said, get us Anthony Davis. That's the problem that I have with it is they could say, get rid of Luka. We don't think Luka's our future. But in the deal that they did.
Terrible deal.
It's an awful deal.
How did you not get Austin Reeves?
So there's the heartbreak of just trading Luka on the surface. And then it's what you got in return. And that's where I think the defense wins championships portion rings so hollow is because I think it's more about Dallas than it is about defense in that community. But if you want to go the defensive route, why are you giving us an aging superstar with injury problems and didn't shop him around the league? Sure, there may have been a rumor here and a rumor there, but LA wasn't the only team that would have wanted Luka Doncic. Now, maybe Minnesota was given an offer. Maybe Milwaukee was given an offer. If he was traded to the Bucks, as a Bucks fan, I can safely say I don't think he's signing an extension there. I just don't think that he is. So it doesn't make sense for the Bucks to do that. But if the Knicks called, if Boston called, if the Heat called, if any of those teams, and you just give them all the first-round picks or whatever player you need, then you did your due diligence as a GM. So I think that you're right, Jason, in that he's almost being the role of Commissioner Goodell as the voice of 32 owners across the NFL that want Roger Goodell to say this. It's just the problem of the way that he went about it and how he set this team up and is so steadfast in his process without seeing the big picture of it all. So there's two things at play here, and he's 0 for 2 with this.
Him saying that towards the end, I think Ilo said that he plans to be here for the 3 years of his contract. I mean, obviously he says that. I don't know if ownership feels that way, if this was all built into this whole thing of eventually you're going to get the buyout and find somewhere else to go. But so you're saying he missed on both. He missed on the basketball decision, and he has really missed on the messaging, including whoever's decision it was to do this closed door thing, which is going to be the topic for the next 24 hours.
Yeah, and the messaging, I think, is an extension of how you deal with that community.
Absolutely.
And how you treat Dallas and how the fans have felt. Because there has really been no acknowledgement on what Luka meant. I said this, I read somebody else saying this on social media today, so it's not an original thought. It was my original thought, but we have the same thoughts. And Monty, I think we've even had this discussion as well. I think Mavericks fans would rather have Luka than win an NBA championship without him. And so that's the point of having Luka on your side and being your player is more important than winning a trophy. Even if they would win it this year, I think they would rather trade that trophy for
a lifetime of Luka.
Yes, exactly.
A lifetime of
having
Luka.
him be your guy is something special, and maybe having an opportunity year in and year out to do it. Moving him robbed fans of that opportunity that no championship can fill. And 2-3 months later, whatever it's been, because I forget what April 15th, that's right, for as long as it's been, that still has not been filled. And that's been the problem with the deal the whole time.
Absolutely. And here's the thing, it's like this isn't with every player. This is an isolated situation because it's Luka Doncic. And or maybe a Nikola Jokic would have a similar effect, a Steph Curry, right? Maybe. But it's only few players that we would be feeling like this about. And that's what it is. I agree with you. I think if you would have asked the Dallas Mavericks fans, hey, you want to have Luka for the next 10, 12 years and maybe never win a championship, or trade him and maybe win a championship.
Listen, there comes a time. Damian Lillard in Portland is the best example.
That's a good one.
He stayed as long as he possibly could.
And
then a deal finally had to be made. And look, it hasn't worked out on the other side. The Mavericks decided to not exhaust that option.
Exactly.
And that's an issue.
If we would have been talking about this, yes, in year 10, 11, maybe we're feeling different. But obviously this was so hush-hush because he knew this is not going to fly with a lot of people. It's not going to fly with a lot of people.
Still can't get it right in Dallas.
Can't get it right. And with this meeting, pathetic. Again, just release your own statement.